Hello, in this video we will be demonstrating the Task Manager tool within Green IT Radian and its connection with the milestones that exist in the Green Gears UI. So I'm starting at the landing page here, and I'm gonna head on over to a project. I'll just do acceleration for the purposes of this video. I'm in a staging area, so don't be surprised if the data here differs from the data in the production environment. I am starting off here in the project overview. I land in the Vitals tab by default, and I am navigating over to the Task Manager tab. And in this tab, you see that there are various folders, top-level folders that correspond to the various modules that exist in a project. So I'm going to start out here by adding a folder. I'm just going to pick a top-level folder that doesn't have any subfolders in it currently. So I'm going to do so in the finance folder here. I'll just scroll up a little bit so you can see me better. And I am clicking the folder icon here to add a new folder, calling this folder 1, and I'll click submit to add the folder. Now within the finance tab, you can see folder 1 exists, and now within this folder I can add a new task. And within the task lightbox, which is what we call this form here, I have several options with which I can enter information. First option here is the task name. This is basically a short description of what the task is about. We'll just call it task 1 for the purposes of our demo. And then you can add a bit of description, do a thing. Likely would be more specific and involved than that. And after that, you see our start and end date. This is designates when the task would start and when the task would end. You can change the start date using the date widget here. You could also change the end date using the date widget. And there's a duration option over here. And any edit to the duration will be applied to the end date rather than the start date. So you saw I added 50 there, and that added 50 days to the end date. There is a status dropdown over here, and it has various statuses in it. And basically not applicable means that the task is not active. It's not basically something that's applicable to the project in this moment. Other options here are not started and in process, which are basically active statuses. So tasks of the status would be subject to alerts when they become past due, and they would appear in the Gantt chart. Not applicable tasks, as you could see from this one, don't appear in the Gantt chart at all. And once I select not started or in process, the task would appear in the Gantt chart, as you'll see shortly. Also, the complete status means that the task has been completed. So when a task reaches completion, it is no longer generates any past due alerts. Basically, it's treated as a non-active status. So the two active statuses that we have here are not started and in process. I'll just make this one in process. Change location, basically, if there are multiple subfolders within a folder, I can select one to move it to the folder. The option available here is just finance, so if I wanted to move it to the top level folder, I would select this and submit, and it would put it in the top level folder. If I had more subfolders here, there would be more options in the change location dropdown. Total is basically a monetary association that exists with the task. So if I had $100 in which to do with which to do task one, I could enter that there. And PO is another input that we have here in which we can record information. I believe that's yes. And the assignment is basically the person who is responsible for completing the task. And so up top here we see there's a variety of team roles. These are associated to the team roles that exist in the Green Gears functionality over here. And basically you can assign a task to any team role regardless of whether a user is assigned to the team role. Down here there's another opt group, as we call it. Basically another section in the dropdown, and this is all individuals that a task could be assigned to. Generally, we would recommend assigning tasks to a team role, as it makes it kind of easier to reassign a task if an individual changes positions or basically no longer wants tasks and compliance items in a project assigned to them. We could just change the user who is selected for that team role rather than having to go into the database and assign every single item individually. So I will assign this to the financing lead role. And that is now assigned. There's also progress input here. This is basically a percentage that could show you how far along the task is on its process to completion. So I'm just going to say 50% here. There's also a way to adjust this within the Gantt task that I'll show you soon. So click and save here. I've got my information for this task. And if I click folder 1 open, I can see task 1. As I alluded to, this little red arrow can change the percentage complete. And also via the ellipses over here, I can click this little square, and that will add a key date. This is very similar to a task, and has similar inputs, and basically the main difference here is that a key date basically just designates a point in time. So I can't have this more than 1 day of duration. So if I change the end date to the 24th, the start date will become the 23rd. So basically this is just a single day action, and there's not a way to adjust it to be more than 1 day in duration. Anything that's more than 1 day in duration would be a task. Key dates, I guess, more similar to a milestone, except it does not drive compliance. Statuses are the same here, and the logic behind the statuses is the same. I'll just make this one in process. Again, we can change location here. And we can add a description and make an assignment. So yes, there's a task and a key date that I've added. And let me just go back to my syllabus real quick here. So I'm gonna add, basically I'll add a link between the task and the key date that I added here. Basically, you can add dependencies between tasks and key dates and key dates, tasks and tasks, tasks and milestones, etc. Basically, any permutation of that, and basically the dependencies control whether one item can happen before another item starts or completes. So an example of this, I'll draw a dependency by selecting this little dot on the left of task 1, and extend it to the beginning of key date 1. I'm going to approve my change. And basically, this task now has a dependency. And the dependency here is a finish to start dependency, which denotes that the test key date over here cannot start before task 1 finishes. And this is enforced if I move task 1 to the right. I can approve my changes and it will pull the test key date to the left. I also have the options to decline the change, so it'll just push task 1 back to where it was, or to override the constraint, which just breaks the dependency. And now the task can move independently of the key date here. So yes, that's how start to finish dependency would work. Basically, any rational dependency is allowed here, as long as it's not a circular dependency. We have logic to prevent dependencies that would result in something impossible from happening. But the other kinds of dependencies you can have are a start-to-start dependency, which means the key date here can't start before the task starts. So if I move task 1 to the right, that will move the key date to the right in a manner that the start date can't predate the task. I'm also prevented from moving something back in a manner that is prevented by the dependency. Since the key date can't start before the task starts, if I try to drag it in a manner that would make it do so, that will be prevented. So that's a start-to-start dependency. I'm going to delete the link, and we can also have a finish-to-finish dependency, meaning, let me just drag that a little better there, meaning that key date, test key date here can't finish before task 1 finishes. So basically the end dates are tied together. If I move task 1 to the right, that will move the key date to the right in a manner in which it prevents the key date from ending prior to the end of the task. And I always get mixed up about the last one here. Start to finish, finish to start. So the other one would be start to, would be, I did finish start before, so the other one would be start to finish. And basically this means that the key date cannot finish before the task 1 starts. And you can also see that these have a little orange arrow here that kind of designates which is the predecessor and which is the successor. In this relationship, task 1 is the predecessor and the key date is the successor. So basically the key date is reliant on the date range in task 1. So that's a little bit about how dependencies work within tasks. You can also override a dependency by clicking in the Gantt chart or on the light box over here, and there's a way to there's a button to override dependency there as well. And yes, so the next step over here would be adding a milestone. One important point to make here is that I've added these tasks and key dates and folders and moved them around quite a bit. And all of these changes that I've made are being saved to my browser at this point. They're not actually saved to the database. And there's this new save button up here that you're going to have to click in order to actually have your edits become saved, so that somebody other than you would be able to see what happened on your screen. Basically, if I navigate away from this page, I'm going to receive a message that tells me that I have to save or else my change will be lost. And I can click reset to undo everything I did since the last save. But in this instance, I'm just going to click save so I can keep everything that I did. So now that I've saved, you can see that the edits that I made are saved. If I were to make another edit and then try to go to another milestone, I would receive this message here that tells me that if I go away from this page, my changes will be lost. So if I click discard edits, that's basically the same as clicking reset here. That would take me to the page I just tried to navigate to and remove any of the changes I just made. So it would just remove me pulling this to the right a little bit. If I click remain on page, it's going to keep me on this page, and then I can click the save button and save my change. So the next important aspect here is milestones. Milestones exist in the green gears section that exists over here. It's the little star icon, which is consistent with what we see in the Gantt chart. And basically a milestone is a critical date that's consistent across the project. And you can see some of these names are not consistent with what's in production. These are from testing. But basically, milestone dates are configured, and you'll see the same descriptions for these milestones in all of the projects. But when I trigger it and assign a date to it, the date that I am triggering only relates to this project. It doesn't relate to the other projects that the milestones are in. So I'm going to click, I'm going to trigger EPCF NTP actual in this acceleration project. And basically that means that, that this milestone has been completed, or it's, I guess since I put a date in the past, it's been completed. I could also put a date in the future, which would be an anticipation of when something's going to happen. Yeah, so I triggered this milestone, and basically that means that this action has taken place within this project only. And now I can go over to the Finance tab here, and if I wanted to add this milestone to the Gantt chart, which is something that we can now do, I could click this star icon and add the milestone. Now, clicking on this drop down here, I can choose milestones from a list. There's only one option here right now because only one milestone has been triggered in this project. And this drop down only contains triggered milestones. So if there was more triggered milestones in green gears, I would see a larger list here. Since there's only one triggered for this project now, I only see this one. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And you see the milestone date pops up over here on the right. The milestone date can be adjusted from here as well. You can kind of change the date via the date widget here if that seems easier to you than dragging it in the Gantt chart. Yeah, so now the milestone exists in the Gantt chart, and we are able to move it in the Gantt chart. We're able to associate it to a dependency, and we can have it move as a result of the dependency. Now, if I move this task to the right, it will kind of cascade the dependency down to the milestone. And just a moment, let me check my syllabus again here. Yes. So basically, the milestones, as I noted before, denote a point in time that is important for the project. They also drive scheduling of compliance items. So you can have compliance items whose start date is associated to a milestone. And if you untrigger and retrigger the milestone, that will result in the compliance item becoming rescheduled. And that logic is still valid now that we have the milestones in the task UI. So if I basically I've moved this milestone a little bit as a result of my dependencies that I drew and dragging it and dropping it. So I can now hit save, or basically I'm kind of fine tuning where I want the milestone to be. Once I'm happy with where it is, I can click save and my changes will be saved. And basically at this point, clicking save is the same as triggering the milestone. So by clicking save, you can see my new milestone date is 1/9/2024. If I click in the milestone tab here and look at this, it's now 1/9/2024. And if I had compliance items that were associated to this milestone, they would be recreated with the new start date. So basically, the rescheduling of the compliance items would take place based on the save of my dragging the milestone around. So basically, this is just another way of triggering and untriggering milestones. And the reasoning behind our save button here is so that every time we drag a milestone around, it doesn't result in the milestone becoming triggered and untriggered, because that would be a bit taxing on the compliance. So currently I can move this around to my heart's content and kind of fine tune what date I want it to be in. Probably when you're working with a milestone, it's best to be in week view, and then you can really fine tune where it goes, or alternately, you can adjust the date in Green Gears. So yeah, I can say I want it on Monday of the 14th week, and also, I can look at the date ranges over here and just kind of fine tune that way. So I want it on the 4th. No, I want it on the 5th. I'll move it over to the 5th, and moved it to the 6th. There it is. So then I can save it, and that triggers the milestone again. And all of the dependencies and whatnot that exist for tasks also exist within a milestone. So you're able to draw finish to finish, start to start, etc. Dependency that involves a milestone, and have those be enforced. Similarly, I can't move this to a date which it is not allowed to go to, but tasks that are its predecessors will move the milestone. And also with a milestone, I am able to delete links similarly to, or delete dependencies similarly to how I had with tasks. There's one subtle difference here. If I click delete link, I will be met with a rationale input. And basically, this is just since these are kind of important dates, we want to capture the reasoning for deleting these. So I can click continue deletion, and now the rationale that I entered there will be captured in this risk register over here. And let's see, what else do I have to talk about here? All right. So yeah, I'm just gonna click save again and just save my current state here. And so there's some other things that exist on this page. We have other functionality. Some of these options are only available to kind of escalated users, so I'm going to kind of talk about some of the more readily available ones. I already showed you the risk register over here. And the meeting view is basically just another way of looking at the task list. So if I go over to finance over here, I can see the milestone and the task that I had created in the finance module. And basically this is just an alternative presentation of the task detail. And it's basically a single page app that contains all of the task information and features. So I can change the status here. I can edit the start and end dates. If there is a dependency between the milestones, I can draw it, or I can move the if there's a dependency between two tasks or milestones or whatever, it will be honored when I change the start or end date. So changing, I'm kind of forgetting how I have them set up here, but if I change this date, it would when I click out of the box, it would update it, and any dependency would be honored. And you can also override the dependencies by clicking on the button over here. You can change the assignments. Basically, you have all the options that you had in the Gantt chart. You can open top level folder, open all folders, or close all folders using this icon over here. This show all button is similar. Basically, I click this to open top level, click it twice to open all the folders, and click it thrice to close them all. Then you can also see the risk register from here. So I'm going to close meeting view, and there's an option to highlight my tasks. So this is any tasks that are assigned to me. I'm logged in as an admin user, so I don't think any of these are assigned to me. So I'm not really seeing anything showing up here. But if I was the financing lead for this project, for instance, this task would become highlighted. And over here we've got our show complete and NA tasks, hide complete and NA tasks. So I've got some not applicable tasks, for example, the one in the offtake module here. If I click this, that would be hidden from me, and I would just be seeing the tasks that are of active statuses. We also have this grid over here. We just close this a little bit more so this is more visible. We can click on this grid icon, and probably a little more visible if I'm at a farther out view. But yeah, I can click the grid icon, or actually maybe a closer view. Yeah, there we go. So I click the grid icon, and it basically turns the Gantt chart into some graph paper here, and I can kind of have a more little more structured view of what I'm seeing in the Gantt chart. I should have mentioned any edits that I make in meeting view, I would have to click the save button here in order for them to be saved. So we also have these kind of calendar icons here. I've kind of used them a bit already, but you go into year view, you'll see everything in a yearly view. So this is by year. You can also click on quarterly to see a quarterly view. So you've got 2022, you got Q1 through Q4. And monthly view would show everything as months. And then weekly view is our kind of most zoomed in view, where we could see things in a weekly format. And this last little button over here, I'm just scrolling all the way to the right here to demo this. But basically this takes you to today. So now I'm in the distant future. Click this button and it centers me on this line, which is today. Other things that exist are we have this arrow icon over here, and basically what this does is expand the left panel over here on our screen. The degree to which I have it open right now, you can see the names of the folders and the tasks and etc. Also, you can see the start and end dates. If I click it once, we have a little more information in here. So we can see the statuses, we can see the assignees, and that's all kind of important information for the tasks. And then if I click it thrice, the right panel just disappears, and I can just basically see my Gantt chart here without the right panel, or the left panel. Sorry about that. And then we have our search functionality here, and I can type the name of a task in here, and basically it shows me where the task is. If everything's closed, if I have the folder that it resides in closed, it'll highlight the folder. So basically, I won't have to open every folder before I search something. I'll be able to figure out what folder it's in, even if all the folders are closed via my search. We also have these different options for exporting. So if I select PDF displayed tasks over here, it's basically going to take a screenshot of my screen, or the tasks that are open on my screen. So it's going to show the whole chart. Basically, if the chart's taller than my screen is, it would show you everything that is in its current state of how open it is. So when this completes, I'm going to see that the offtake folder is open, and basically these other ones are all going to appear as closed, and that will be what's exported. There's also the option here to I'm just going to do a quick refresh here. There's also the option to export all tasks, PDF all tasks. So this would basically open all of the task folders, and take a screenshot of every task that exists in the project. And this icon over here is an Excel export, so basically it would export an Excel version of the Gantt chart. And then we have this full screen button over here, which will just take me into full screen. Sorry, my video is not capturing the top part of my screen, but it's there. Yeah, so you could get into full screen in this manner. And I clicked on the green button to close it. Sorry, I'm not showing the top part of my screen in the video because I selected a different area. But basically, those are the different UI components here in the Task Manager. Another important thing of note is I've been adding these all to the finance folder here, and I can see them in the finance folder, but also if I went to the finance module over here, I would see the same tasks in the Task Manager. And basically that logic is consistent for all the modules. They are tied to different task folders, and generally it's related to the name of the folder. So if I had something to finance, it would show up in the finance tab's Task Manager as well. It's generally preferred to work in the Task Manager on the project overview, though. Basically because dependencies can exist between folders. and you would not see the dependency line if there was a dependency between finance and permitting per se, unless you were on the project overview. You wouldn't see that on the module level. And I think that is everything. Yes, looks like I've gotten through my full syllabus here. So yes, that has been a demonstration of the tasks and milestones as it relates to tasks functionality within Green IT. Thank you very much and have a nice day.